Hey, it's me Ganjo, USA Reader. Welcome to another video, and for today I'm going to share with you book reviews of the recent physical books that I've read. And as of this moment, I have read 53 books, and I'm going to share with you on small wins. On the year 2023, I set my Goodreads reading challenge for this year to read 50 books, and I'm really glad I was able to read 53 as of this moment while filming this video, which that will be my second time beating my Goodreads challenge because I'm known to set up unrealistic reading goals. For the past almost 11 years or a decade of doing the Goodreads reading challenge, it's the only second time that I've beaten the challenge. So it's a great win for me. And yeah, going back to what the title, what this video is all about, I'm going to review and share my thoughts about the recent physical books that I've read. I decided to only share the physical books because I don't really have enough time to do some editing if I have to include the audiobooks and the digital copies that I've read. So this is just going to be a one-take video, so I'm just going to do the physical ones because I don't really have time. I'd rather use those time to read books and play video games than editing the video, right? But I'll probably make a separate video for all of the audiobooks and ebooks that I've read recently also. And also I'm initially planning actually to share with you all of the books I read this year, but sharing my thoughts on the 53 books I've read so far this year, I think that's going to be a very long video, and I don't have the bandwidth to do that for now. But hopefully I'll be able to have the strength and time to do it in the future. But for now, this is just what I can do, so let's do what I can do, right? We'll start with Shug Ban by Douglas Stewart. This is his first novel, his debut novel, and it already won the Booker Prize back in 2020. And I'm a new fan of Douglas Stewart, and I can't wait to read Young Mongo, his next book. And this one is a new all-time favorite of mine, not just the best book ever this year, but a new all-time favorite. This is a book that's so emotional. It really talks about love between a mother and a son, and it revolves about the theme dysfunctional family, addiction to alcohol, this growing up in a family where you lack guidance, especially from parental guidance. And this one, as per the book, focuses on the main character, the gay guy, who has been surrounded by this dysfunctional character, especially his parents. But I believe that the main character is the mother of our main character. This made me cry. If you love a theme between a relationship between a son and a mother, this is you need to check this one out. It's really emotional, bleak, and kind of slow burn, but there are some moments that's going to be unforgettable, especially when the main character was trapped in a tar pit, and then he's decided to sing a song by Whitney Houston while he was dying. So that was hilarious. Anyway, this book ended with a bang. I have a lot of takeaways from this. I'm still emotional thinking about how this book ended, and yeah, this is actually a UK copy or a UK version. I'm going to look for a US version also because I just really love this book, and I can't wait to share this with you. Hopefully you're going to pick this one up. The next physical book that I read, by the way, I gave Shug Ban obviously 5 out of 5 stars. So I read Lanny by Max Porter. This is one of the books that I hauled from Big Bad Wolf Cebu 2023 a few months ago, back in September, I think. Was that September or October? I think it was October, I forgot. Anyway, this is one of the 29 books I hauled during this year's Big Bad Wolf in Cebu. It's really short, and it's weirdly written because it's written in verses, which I was not aware. But then I had high hopes for this and high expectations because the Goodreads average rating for this book is pretty decent. It's actually really high, not just decent. So to be honest, I dive into this one just to keep myself. I have the momentum for reading, and I expected that this is going to be a cutesy one, since based on the synopsis, we're just going to follow this young boy is very curious, is smart, and then there's this weird creature in this small town. but this one ended up to be very bleak, very depressing. So it's not obvious based on the 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 cover, and based on the premise, but boy, I was not prepared because this was really depressing and dark or bleak. It made me feel uncomfortable, so that's going to be a weird experience. It's just a really weird experience, but a really fast read, well written also, given that it's not what I'm used to when I read a book. It's really, really lyrical and poetic, as we can see. Um, yeah, there will be a lot of takeaways. We're following a main character who is living with his parents. He's a single child, where his family just moved into this very small town from the busy city life of London. So this is just a few minutes or a few miles away from London, and this is a very small town, and there will be a lot of nature. So he's really curious. He wants to go to the woods, and he has this friend who is an artist, and he made some bond with this friend, and then a big thing happened, and the entire small peaceful town was shaken, and it has been the center of the news in the entire nation based on what happened. So it was really weird, depressing, sad, and it made me think a lot of things. Yeah, still a good read. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars, though if I think if I read this on different, you know, on a later date or in different mood and different time, I could have given this an easy 5-star read. But again, the main reason why I gave it 4, because I was not ready for the atmosphere that this book gave me. I was not ready for the story, for what it made me feel, because as of this moment I was just really looking for a light, cutesy, and happy read, and then it gave me the complete opposite. So I was kind of feel betrayed. That's why I gave it 4 stars. Yeah, so let's dive into the next one, the one that I'm really excited to read, Bewilderment by Richard Powers. I actually have his copy of the, what do you call it, the Over Story, which is a winner of the Pulitzer Prize. This one is actually shortlisted for the Booker Prize back in 2021, and that's the main reason why I purchased this. Since it is in the shortlist, then it should be good, right? I think it got defeated by the Gathering. Was it The Gathering or The Outsider? No, I forgot. But anyway, going back to this one, I really am looking forward about this one. I've read mixed reviews about this book, but I was optimistic I'll be on the the lover side of the story, since after reading the premise, it's like we're following the story of the relationship of this child and his father, and how they live their life full of grief, how they handle grief after his mom and the wife, this father, died from an accident. And yeah, that's basically what the story is all about, how the child handled grief, the child with mental illness, and the father who is also handling grief but at the same time trying to be strong to guide and support his child, who needs a lot of attention because this child has a lot of needs, special needs. And then yeah, he's also suffering from the loss of his wife, and he felt like he was not given this opportunity to grieve properly, because he was forced to step up and be a responsible father for the special needs of his child. And this child was just really special. He was dark also. It was dark, so triggers to depression, suicide, and yeah, there will be a lot of that here, which I did not expect. Also, I gave this one only 3 stars because I did not like the writing style. The writing style was pretty forward for me, but I felt like it was really bland. I don't know, maybe it is only the book. I'm hoping that it's not going to be the same on the Overstory, because I still haven't read that one, but I'll be reading that for sure in next year. But for this one, it just didn't work for me. I figured out some of the scenes in the book supposed to be emotional, but I was not really affected by it. So I just really don't care about the story. And when it ended, it was like, okay, I'm glad it ended. and pretty forgettable. But I can see why people love this one, but this book wasn't really for me. So 3 out of 5 stars. The next book I read is a book that almost made it to my all-time favorite list. And it's going to be Chain Gang All Stars by, let me just read his name. It's pretty long. Nana Kwame Ajay Brenya. This book is a science fiction, a literary science fiction, and this book was made, according to me, not according to the authors, not to the author. This book was made for fans of Hunger Games. I was able to say or conclude that because I am a big fan of Hunger Games, and while reading this book, I can't stop thinking about Hunger Games and also Red Rising by Pierce Brown, because it has the same theme. We are following our two main characters who are prisoners to this dystopian world where prisoners who were sentenced by life sentence or death sentence has this opportunity to avoid that sentence or life sentence by enrolling themselves in this program, CAPE program, where in this CAPE program, whoever enrolls it are treated as the same as the gladiators back then in Rome, where they have to fight in the arena and being live streamed around the world, fight each other. Then whoever loses will die. Then whoever survives or wins survives, and then proceed to the next. They just really have to survive 3 years. Once they survive 3 years, they'll be free. They'll be back into society as normal people. All of their mistakes or crimes, according to law, will be forgiven or forgotten. And yeah, we're following our main character here, Loretha Thornmore, Wishes. I still remember. She is actually down to almost few weeks before she reaches the third year and will be released from this CAPE program and go back into her normal life, her life prior to committing her crime or getting arrested or incinerated. And other character is Spike, which is her love interest. So there's an LGBTQ theme here. So of course you might expect the dilemma about Spike and Loretta. They're really in love, but at the same time they're the same. So that's pretty expected. But there will be a lot of things happening here. There's also one character that I don't want to mention, but I just want you to discover. He's a great character. He sings. That's my clue. He sings. You'll know once you're able to read the first chapter about him. It talks about how he sings, how he preach, and that's the best character for me in this book. And yeah, this book is a shout out to a critique to the prison system, not just probably in America, but it also applies somewhat on the prison system around the world, where we are given a chance as readers to reconsider or reflect on our stand against people who has been incarcerated by the crimes, like for example murder, rape. We always have a strong feeling against them because we think that they deserve them. But this one is a book that shows how capitalism, for example, take advantage to the mistakes of these people, and how these people at the end of the day, regardless of what crime they commit, are still human and still has a chance to correct their mistakes. And it's difficult discussion that this book is offering, but it's a great discussion, and it actually checks our morals and our stand against these people, or what's our stand towards these people who committed heavy crimes. And yeah, it's up to you. It's actually a great book. It actually helped you or make you realize or think about or reflect about these themes, which I really love. And now it's action packed. There'll be a lot of matches, a lot of gory matches to it, so be warned for that. It's really entertaining. It ended with a bang. Probably kind of emotional. I can see some people crying in the ending, but for me, I almost cried. But this was really entertaining. I breezed through it. I read this really quick because it was so good. And look at the cover. This has been a finalist for the National Book Award, by the way, and I heard a debut by Nana Kwame Brenya, not a book a debut, but a debut on literary fiction, because his first book was actually probably an anthology or a collection of poems, I'm not sure, or essays, but this one is his debut for literary fiction, science fiction, literally science fiction, whatever. But yeah, you need to check this one out, especially if you love Hunger Games. It's like a mature and more gory version of Hunger Games, and I love this book. Of course, 5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read, second book of Fundyside by Robert Jackson Bennett. I'm not going to talk much about this book and what this book is all about, since this is the second one and I don't want to spoil you, especially if you haven't read Fundyside. This is an adult fantasy, high fantasy. Second book of a trilogy. I read Fundyside earlier this year and love it, gave it 5 stars. I did not actually expect to read this. I was actually planning to read this next year because I'm planning to read one book of each of this series per year, but I don't know what happened. As a mood reader, I was just really looking for a high fantasy read at the time when I picked this, and then this is the first one that came to my mind. So shout out to all of my unfinished trilogies or series of high fantasy series out there. But this one was the lucky one. I picked it and then I was hooked. The book started exactly immediately where this first book ended, which I think I still have a lot of familiarity. I didn't really had a hard time connecting to the story since I just recently read the first book this year. And boy, this one started really tough for me, though I was able to connect, ironic, right? But then towards going to the middle, it kind of slowed down, and there were a lot of concepts and characters introduced, and the world in the magic system was actually expanded. It became more complex, and it was too complicated for me, for my brain. I would really had a hard time catching up and understanding or appreciating the entire magic system. It was really science heavy. In case you don't know, Fundyside, this magic system is mostly derived from the concepts of physics. So if you love physics, if you love science, this trilogy is for you. Better check Fundyside. So this one, it already touches the concept of the antimatter, space travel, time traveling. It was a lot. It was like the metaphysics, not just the basic physics where I had, talking about gravity and the pull and push and the force and the fulcrum. That was on the Fundyside, which is the basic physics. But this one, it's metaphysics. It's physics about time and space, which was, I'm not that intelligent to appreciate that magic system. It was mind-blowing, but mind you, I still gave this one around almost 5 stars. Probably 5. Yeah, I gave it 5 stars, around it 5 stars, because the ending was probably one of the best epic ending I've read on all of the fantasy books I've read in my entire life. It was really contained. It was the world in this trilogy was just really small, and the writing was really good. This one seems like a movie or a series or a finale of a series that you've been reading for a very long time, and then it concluded with a bang, like this one. I can't wait to read Lucklands. I actually tried to pick Lucklands, the finale, but this one I already have it. But I might pick this one up soon, probably next year, I'm pretty sure. And look at these covers. Don't have with me right now the Fundyside. I think I have it up there. The Fundyside copy, the first book, is actually really special because that's an art copy, which is one of the rare copies for every book. So yeah, 5 stars, shortfall. Next book I read, just read, posted something about this on my Book Talk account. Some of Achilles finally read this. Thank you, Thomas, for inspiring me to pick this. I have been hearing a lot of great things about this one. It's been hype for the past years since I started Booktube, or for the past decade. There's no year that I haven't read or a message or I haven't seen people on the internet praising this book. And I thought, okay, maybe it's just overhyped. Maybe this book is not really for me. I always have this you know, trait that I avoid hype books. But then I don't know what happened. This is actually my second copy. I just get my. I have this book or this copy since 2020, since the start of the pandemic. I have this one. But I did not pick it because I don't know. I'm not really gravitated towards it. And then while I was browsing separate books, and then I stumbled into this Shopee bookshop, and then I saw that that person is selling this special gorgeous, what, I don't know what edition is this, I forgot. And this is sprayed just for a very cheap price. I think I just bought this for around 600 pesos, like around $11 or $10. So no brainer, I said okay, I'm just going to purchase this because it's cheap. Can't pass this limited edition for a very cheap price. And when it arrived, there was something about this beautiful book that was calling me, and then I picked it, and then voila, I finished reading it. I did not expect. I was drawn to how beautiful the writing was by Madeline Miller, which I'm a big fan now. I'll be reading Cersei next, but someone said that Cersei was bad or was not as good as this one, so I'm kind of scared. But yeah, for sure, I'm a big fan of Madeline Miller for reading this one, and also a big fan of The Song of Achilles, and it's my new all-time favorite also. It's a new all-time favorite. The main reason why this is my new all-time favorite, it was first the writing style, and second the characters, of course. Patroclus, my boy Patroclus. I just really want to have Patroclus. If I have to adapt a new cat, I'll name him Patroclus, because most of my cats, if you don't know, I have 11 cats, and their names are Tenson, one of the most memorable character from Mistborn trilogy, especially in book 3, The Hero of Ages. We have Kaya, which is a very memorable character from Where the Crowded Sing. I have Nonna from the book of Mark Lawrence, the Red Sister, the main character. Who else? I have Tolliver from the Toll, Neil Schusterman, Toll, Thunderhead, and what was that again, the first book? Sight, yeah. Who else? I have Cabbage from If Cats Disappeared from the World. We have, who else? Kaladin. I have Kaladin. From the Worlds of Radiance, The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. I have a cat named Kelsier, which is from the Mistborn, from the Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson again. So yeah, I have those cats named after great set of characters. That's why Patroclus, given a chance. No, I can't adapt new cat. 11 is enough. But anyway, that's how much I love Patroclus that I want to name, or probably rename, one of my cats into Patroclus. Because Patroclus was such a character, unforgettable character. But I hate him at some point because he has this super kind attitude, and also he loves the kindest way. Like he loves this character. I don't want to mention his name or her name, so much that he doesn't care about his welfare anymore, which is kind of weird because this character wants to go to war, but because he loves this character, he wants to go to war too. But that's kind of stupid. But yeah, stupid things love make us do. Well, anyway, this was one of the most beautiful book I've read. One of the most memorable book that I've read, especially one of the most memorable character. The ending, or probably the last pages between this character. If you know, you know. If you read the book, this character granting the wish of this character, and then the last paragraph where this character meets this character, like emotional damage. read this book. This is a really long video, almost half an hour, but I'm going to share with you the last one. I just finished reading this yesterday, and this one is How Do You Live by Genzaburo Yoshino. In this book, I gave it 2.5 stars, 3 stars if I have to round it up, but it's not that high in 3, it's like 2.5. But anyway, the main reason why I bought this one is because I've heard that this is a book that inspired Hayao Miyazaki in creating his latest and final movie, The Boy with the Heron, or The Boy and the Heron. I'm not sure, which is to come out in the cinema here in the Philippines by December 8th, which I can't wait. Anyway, that's the main reason why I bought it, aside from it's really cheap. Well, actually, it's not me who bought this one. It's Marlo who bought this one, I think. But anyway, that's the main reason why we bought this, and then I picked this one up because, again, it's short, big fonts, and then the premise was actually really cool. It's actually a translated fiction, translated by Bruno Navasky, originally written by Genzaburo Yoshino. This has been well known, written a very long time in Japan already. So I picked this one up, I've read this, and then I hated how it was written. I don't know, it's probably an old style writing, or it was lost in translation. But anyway, either of those two I did not like. It was really dry and basic, and there's no creativity in the writing style. I'm sorry, I was just really disappointed in how it was written, so I stopped reading it for a while, then read another book. After reading several books, I went back into this just for the sake to finish this, because again, we spent money for this and then I'm not going to finish it, so I felt like I'm not getting the worth of my money from purchasing this book, because it was around 559 pesos before the discount. Yeah, so I picked this one up just to make sure that I just have to finish this and force myself. It was a struggle, it was awful experience. I did not really like it, though I can see a glimmer of why this was being liked, or why this can be a good book. Here and there it has some reasons why it can be a good book, but it was not really for me. It felt like I'm reading a diary, I'm reading a lecture by someone. It was that boring, because there's some parts of this book that is a letter from the uncle telling some wisdom, sharing his wisdom to his niece, which is like you're just reading someone older than you telling you stuff about life, which is a lazy way for me. It's like a poor execution for me of delivering what you really want your readers to appreciate when it comes to these concepts that are being discussed. There's at some point that they're talking about Napoleon Hill, Napoleon Hill? I don't know, forgot. Talking about the law, Newton's law, talking about atoms, which is, and then correlating it to some life lessons, which is weird. And I'm a science person, I'm a pharmacist. I graduated from science high school, so I grew up with a lot of science stuff. I used to teach in a university as a pharmacist. I teach clinical microbiology, toxicology, pharmacology, hospital pharmacy. I teach those stuff in the university before, so I know science stuff, and this one is science also, so I should have appreciated this and relate to it, but just don't really care, so which is a bummer. So I gave it 2 stars or 3 or 2. It was really dry. If you are not sure if to read this one or spend money on this book, you're watching this video, avoid this. Skip. Anyway, it's been a long video, almost a minute, almost half an hour. This is me and Joel, you say reader. Thank you so much for reaching this point and for hearing me talk non-stop about books I've read recently. It's now late. I'm currently reading a lot of books, so I probably upload a different video about the current books I'm reading, because there's a lot on my next video. But for now, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Like this button if you like this video. Like this button. Like this video by clicking the like button. And leave some comments if you have some negative reactions. If you have what are your thoughts on the books, or what are you thinking about the reviews? I don't know, it's up to you. And if you can share it to your friends also, which is I don't see the reason why you need to share this video. But anyway, thank you for your support and for reaching this part of the video. 5 seconds before it becomes 30-minute video. Take care, keep safe. Bye bye.